All right, super excited about this one. There are so many places we can take this conversation. You're literally a scientist.
We're not gonna. This is not gonna be a linear conversation. I'm getting this sense. I'm sure
Doctor,
we're gonna go all over the place
scientist,
here.
real estate, and now entrepreneur with MyYenta.
Yeah.
And we should start with, for the audience, what is a Yenta?
The new baby. So Yenta is a Yiddish term.
Okay.
So, and it basically just means it's used to describe an old woman who tends to be a busybody, a know-it-all, a kind of a grandma who literally sticks her nose into everything, knows everything, and has a lot of fun with it.
Uh-huh.
And so we started this company with that sort of concept in mind, and it all focuses around knowing, it all focuses around professionals knowing their clientele and knowing how to communicate with them in the most effective and smart and easy ways possible. So when we were trying to think of how to brand it, we said, well, let's run with this wonderful concept of a little old lady that knows everything about everyone and how she can go ahead and help you with your business.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And we've just been kind of launching it all over the country over the past couple of weeks. And it's amazing to see how much fun people are just having, even with the brand, not even with the idea.
Yep.
Because the whole brand is I get to dress up in drag to pull it off.
Yeah. Well, I was going to save that, but
I mean,
let's just go there now. Yeah.
Head right into this. Let's just.
Scott thought you might come dressed up today.
I thought we might meet Mrs. Housefire.
I opened up, I'm not going to lie, I opened up the suitcase this morning and all I got were mothballs out of it. I was like, oh, good Lord, I cannot subject those poor two to this torture right now. The Yenta outfit, and I have one, okay? We are going to hit the thrift stores for some more Yenta outfits this upcoming week. It is all modeled after Mrs. Doubtfire, basically. Mm-hmm. And so when we created this character, it was, when I created the company, it was always called MyYenta because I always envisioned that this company would sort of be this very, like I said, know-it-all, helps everybody to connect on a deeper level type of company. So MyYenta just made sense. But my mom had just retired from 35 years in the classroom. And I said, well, you know what? She was bored. This is a woman who raised a bunch of kids, supported her family her whole life, was always intimately involved in the community. Everybody knows her. Everybody loves Mrs. Groah. I was like, shit, let's go ahead and involve my mom. So I bring my mom in. I'm like, well, listen, I said, I'm launching a company. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come out around the country with me and launch it. My mom looks at me. She goes, I'm 60 years old, Jason Lewis. If you think I'm getting on a plane with you, she goes, and I'm traveling all over the country. She goes, I am going to sit on my butt and enjoy retirement. We're thinking about it. And she looks at me and she goes, you be the Yenta. And I said, excuse me?
That's great.
And she goes, listen to me. She goes, your personality, she goes, get yourself all dressed up in drag. She goes, come on, what better brand can you be? So my mother, the teacher, was the one who literally was like, well, Jay, guess what? You go ahead and be the brand.
Mother knows best.
Oh, it was, so of course, I'm down in DC with hubby. We're visiting with friends of ours, and I was just like, I'm discussing the idea with some friends of mine who are really like you guys, like small business, entrepreneurial, branding type of really mindsets. And literally this girl, thank you, Patty, is just like, oh my God. She goes, I'm going to have so much fun with this. And all of a sudden she goes into her garage and she busts out foam. And this woman is literally like crafting me a bodysuit. Like she is going full on Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah. And here I am thinking, I'm just going to go to
like she's done it before.
Yeah, she was, this woman was an expert. I was like, God, all right, this is gonna be a lot of fun. And she's crafted me this bodysuit. She's going onto the interwebs and she's pulling up clothes. And me and Steve are just sitting there going, we were literally just gonna. I was gonna just stuff the undershirt with some washcloths and put on some little old lady clothes. Mm-hmm. Oh no, she went all out. She found me the wig. She's buying all this makeup. I was like, all right. She looked at me. She goes, if you're going to do it up big. Yeah. So our brand is literally, the CEO of the company literally dresses in drag to push his brand.
You're good looking Yenta, though. I was stalking your stuff.
I thought I did okay. I mean, for these conferences, it's absolutely, it is so much fun because most of our market right now is in the real estate sphere.
It's a great market.
It's a great market. It's very, very, very focused on tech and communication right now. So it's a natural place for us to really get our start. The average realtor is in their early 60s. And it is so much fun to watch as people, our whole booth is it's a very modern looking, very professional booth. But then I've got a little old lady chair with this blue chinoiserie and gold lamp and a couple of little statues of these chubby old ladies in bathing suits with little bathing caps on. And then there's me sitting in a chair. And it's just funny as hell because these people walk by, they kind of do like the one take, like, okay.
Nervous energy,
Okay,
I'm sure, from a lot of them.
It's either a lady with a really bad wig and she's sitting down taking it, or there's something more to this that I am noticing. And of course, if somebody walks by, if they give me the double take, I seize the opportunity to go, "Why, hello, young lady, how you doing?"
Oh my God,
and they literally are like, "Oh my God!" It is so much fun, but talk about a great hook. So, I mean, what professional company out there literally has a guy in drag who says, "Hey, listen, you got 3 minutes for a 40-year-old man dressed like an 80-year-old lady?" And then I'll pop the wig right off, and they're just like, "I guess I do." You know? And it's been, as far as branding's gone, it's been an absolute
memorable.
It's memorable.
Yeah.
Talk about standing out at one of these fairs that you go to, these job fairs where it's the same booth and they're all dressed up in suits and they got the pamphlets and no.
Exactly.
You're doing it right.
That was the biggest thing for me. Everything I've ever done in my life, I've never done by the book. So for me, I was like, well, you're starting up a new tech company, and I had gone to so many conferences, entrepreneurial conferences, real estate conferences, speaking conferences, all the fun things. And everybody walks, talks, and acts the same.
Yep.
They've all got some goofy little swag. They've all got a little box of mints.
Sign up
to
win something.
Yeah, sign up to win something. They got these boring booths that they all get from and honestly, I just was like, I can't do this. So for us, we have like things. I'm Lebanese, right? Food is one of my major love languages. It's why Utica and I, you guys are the same way. Why Utica and I still get along so well after 40 years. It's like food is my love language, right? So we have an entire wicker like trunk that I come in, and it is like Costco and BJ's run. I spend like $300 before every conference. And this thing is literally a treasure chest of snacks. So we get this huge treasure chest of snacks at our booth done in this big old wicker basket. We have Yenta's medicine cabinet. So literally there is an entire cabinet, old school antique cabinet, that's full of like razors and mouthwash and Tylenol. And these people walk by and they're looking and they're going, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Do you need anything?" And they looked and go, "Do you want Tylenol?" I was like, "Of course I got Tylenol. Get over here." And it's a great attraction. And again, we're surrounded by all this boring.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Should add liquid IVs.
We have
I went the last conference I went to. You got your standard coffee station.
Yep.
These people were smart in Ohio. They had all the pain-killing
My
medicine,
go-to.
the liquid IVs.
I love
assuming that the people at the conference might have partaken the night before.
Inevitably, we love. I mean, come on, you go to
or we'll partake later, and they're going to want to hydrate ahead of time. Hydration is important.
We have an entire table full of liquid IVs and all the little flavored water packets.
Yeah.
The zero sugar flavored waters. Because I'm like, you know what, you're out there and a lot of the people will give out water bottles as you're walking around. Mm-hmm. So for us, I'm like, well, let's just do some additives. At some point, I'm sure we'll add, a mix of, small little alcoholic treats to the mix.
That's where my brain went immediately when you talked about the medicine cabinet. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, all right, what's in the medicine cabinet?
I didn't actually think about it until just now. But now I'm like,
funny.
man. what a great attraction. You got an 80-year-old lady wandering around with little mini bottles of alcohol as you're going around. I mean,
it's a good way to lure the professional world into your booth.
For sure.
That is for sure.
It is. So you see this too, because it's like, to me, I always laugh when professionals go to conferences. All of a sudden, it's like a free for all. So have you guys never drank in your life? Because I don't know. I enjoy a good festivity and all. But when I go to these things, I'm like, okay, I have to function the next day. I have to sit in a classroom, or I have to perform. So I'll exercise moderation.
That they're in the grind with the business, with family, it is a getaway for a lot of people. So I get it.
Well,
we can't use that excuse. We get away enough, but let's talk about the meat of this, right?
Program, right?
Yeah, what is it, right? And you had a moment where it just, sometimes the stars align. I don't believe there are coincidences, right? Oh. So you are in DC, someone refers a realtor to you.
Yep. And so
you were a realtor, or are a realtor,
yeah.
And so tell us the story of where this like light bulb moment
interesting
occurred.
Origin story, right? So, my husband lives down in the DC metro area, and when he moved, he sets his realtor husband on finding us a great place, right? So I had one of my dear friends basically says, Jay, you got to use my realtor. Now, in realtor land, that is the absolute highest compliment that someone can give.
Right.
When you hear that somebody's out there hunting and they're like, oh my God, use my realtor. And she did it in such an animated, enthusiastic way. And she goes, oh, you're going to love Liz. She's crazy. You're crazy. You're high energy. She's high energy. And she literally extols this girl's virtues for probably 5 minutes. I'm like, yes, this is great. Found myself a good match. So first time we're going out to look at condos. And now, for all that I am a big personality and a loud guy and extroverted and this and that, in here I'm a scientist. Right. So for me, it's like I literally, I'm early everywhere. I need to have, my schedule is on my calendar and in front of me and all over. I have to be organized, right? Yeah. So I'm at the first condo. I'm there 15 minutes early. I've already found the lockbox. I've wandered the property. I've done my thing chicken wing. So I get a call from her, and she's like, hey, just an FYI, I'm running like 20 minutes late. And I'm like, oh, okay, yay. And all of a sudden, this Audi A5 just flies up, does the parallel park, slams the curb, like literally just boom, hits it, pulls right in. And this bubble of a human being, she was the dang cutest little thing, like comes out. She's got frayed hair. She's got a frayed skirt. She jumps out of the car. She's so in a rush that like the car door like scrapes against the curbing because she's just like not paying any attention. She steps out and she's just fire. She's adorable. Okay. And then she's got this packet, like a clipboard with this pack of papers, and I am so anti-paper. Like I am like, and it's like it's got all like the little frayed, frizzy edges and all this stuff, and it's a mess. And she's just like, she comes over and she hugs me, which cool. I'm a hugger. She gives me a jar of salsa, and she's like, okay, I'm so sorry I'm late. And I'm just like, no problem. Let's go. And she has no idea where the lockbox is. I said, I'll take you to the lockbox. I've been here for 20 minutes. And what I realized was, okay, you know what? My friend, Patty, literally when she hooked us up, was like, she met well. Sure. She met well. But she, I would think, knows me really well, but didn't know me well enough to know that I need organization and I need a very, like, high accuracy style of individual to work with. And this particular person was nothing like that. So in the end, our relationship was actually not compatible whatsoever. And I ended up getting my condo from someone else. And so one day, I literally in my condo, we're just chilling, having a good time. And all of a sudden I was like, wait, I'm a behavioral science junkie. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for me, you give me a personality test. I mean, the books, the science, all of it absolutely fascinates me. And I said, man, we spend all this time and energy wasted on getting how to understand how to communicate with people, right? I've screwed up so many clients just by not fully grasping how they prefer to be communicated with. So why isn't there, or is there something out there for the professional community? It's sort of an entry-level professional that can help them to communicate with their clients quick and understand their clients quick and talk to them and work with them in the ways that they want to be worked with, rather than literally guessing what your client's personality is like from a LinkedIn profile and 3 bad pictures on Facebook or Insta. I mean, so we came up with this company that was just like, well, you give us a call, we send your client an email, and the client gets a personality test. And it's proprietary. We developed it for the professional industry, and basically you spend 3 to 5 minutes. Super easy. We've made it fun because I've taken, all the personality tests out there, and every now and then after taking about your 5th one, you're like, okay, how many more of these same questions do I have to answer? When you're up at a party, are you the center of attention? Or are you the one up against the wall? I think I've answered that question 45 times.
We know the answer, Jay.
Really?
I won't ask you that question.
No, you don't have to ask that question. So we made it a little more fun, a little more interesting. And as soon as the client takes it, the professional has taken it too. So they get this crazy, crazy huge report that's full of information about how that particular client ticks. So it's going to go over their personality style. Okay, and it's going to base it on nationwide known factors. So this is all based upon personality assessments. Our personality assessment is essentially an amalgam of 3 other personality assessments. It's a combination of 3 big personality assessments. Okay. So they're all things that you're familiar with. It's going to say, hey, this person is an extroverted personality. It's going to say, hey, you are an introverted personality. Then it's going to tell you, hey, this is what their personality is going to be like. And these are potential areas that you guys are going to really enjoy working with each other on. These are potential areas that, hey, you might have a little bit of a roadblock on. You might have a little bit of a speed bump here or there. Here's how to avoid those things. And then it goes on about, here's how often you should communicate with them. Here are the types of communication that you should have, which to me was critical as we were developing all of this assessment. So many people, when you give someone a form, it's like, is that form tailored for that person's personality type? So for me, for example, like a risk and reward form is actually a really great way to appeal to me. So when I'm looking at properties to rehab, it's like, okay, what are the risks and what are the rewards? I make a plus and minus sheet for every single house that I'm about to reimagine. So my natural personality style likes to see that sort of comparative analysis. Well, our Yenta form will tell you that. It will say, Jay really likes risk and reward forms. Use those forms. It goes over how they prefer to be communicated with. So really, is Jay going to be the type that you want to hug, or is Jay going to be the type that you start out with a good firm handshake, and maybe we'll eventually move up to the hugging? Because that's how it is with me. I'm not a hugger right off the bat. Everybody thinks I should be. I'm not. Let's shake hands first. But and I can't do, like, I don't know anymore. And this is you all's age bracket, but that whole like bro handshake thing is so far beyond
Not
my
dabbing people up.
I'm like, I'm like, no.
I get confused with my own kids.
Yeah, my kids yell at me.
Like,
They're like, dude, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, well,
awkwardly dancing.
Yes. I'm like, this is not right. I am too old and way too boring to do this sort of hand claspy thing. I'm like, I'm a handshaker. And then it goes over. I think that the 2 best things that it offers to a professional are your follow-up methods and gifts that you can give. Because those are areas where a lot of professionals waste a lot of money.
Sure.
My personality type, I don't need a closing present if I'm a realtor. For me, it's actually simplest just to say, hey, give me great service.
Yep.
Give me great service. You do that. That is your gift to me. That's all I want.
Yeah, I don't want a gift card. I don't want
a gift card. I don't need a bottle of wine. I don't need any of that stuff.
Yep.
But ultimately,
we would be heavy on the give them wine.
Yeah.
And they'll be happy.
Weighed my heart.
Yeah.
Well, and that works for a lot of people. When we close on a deal, we do the same thing. We throw them a pizza party, okay, and then we give them usually a bottle of as long as we find out that they're not, if they're not into drinking, then we give them a non-alcoholic spirit.
Yep.
But otherwise, we usually do a bottle of whiskey, bottle of bourbon, along with a really nice thank you note.
Yep.
That's a traditional way to gift. But what we find now is with MyYenta, we now will tailor that to exactly what they want. So some of our really, really high extrovert clients, we don't necessarily need to give them something right off the bat. We will tell them, just like I said, we're going to throw you a pizza party. Like, we're going to throw your housewarming party for you.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's a great idea. And that was given to us frankly, by a personality assessment.
Yeah.
And so basically what we're able to do is we're really able to tailor a client's experience to what they want rather than this canned stock experience.
Yep.
And I mean, sales. Yeah. Sales. Why is the Greats model as great as it is? Well, it's because, again, you are well known as a local guy. You love this area, and you provide customized high levels of service, right?
Yeah.
You're not a one-size-fits-all insurance shop at all.
Yeah. And it's funny because, and we tell people that, and I'm, as you're talking, thinking of the customer onboarding process. This is a great way to start a relationship. It's a great way to start the conversation. Like, hey, let's sit down and go over what I'm seeing here on this report, and you tell me, right, is this accurate, or how would you prefer to be communicated with or worked with? And that way, I say all the time, to be unclear is unkind. And, when you go in with complete clarity around goals, expectations, the way someone wants to be treated, followed up with, it just changes everything with that relationship. So kudos to you, man. I think it's fantastic. We're, the technology's there. We're doing it in every other. We do it in dating. We do it in hiring. Why aren't we doing it? The other question I had, there was no question there, but the question I have is, can we go the other way with this? Meaning, if I'm I need to hire a realtor, right? So you're talking realtors giving the potential client an assessment. If I'm a client, is there a database of realtors where if I take this assessment, it's like, hey, you need to think about this person, this person, this person?
What I love is that you've literally hit on the next phase of my company's development. So originally, my goal was to create this massive database of professionals. So in our line right now, real estate is our first sort of focus, but we're looking into therapy, hospitality, sales in general, and actually the construction and design industry, legal, banking. So all of these different areas, we're looking at creating databases of people based upon their personality type and heading out there. For right now, we are essentially that service where a professional hires us and says, hey, listen, we want you guys to help us understand how to communicate with our client. But phase 2 is nationwide database of, and in this case, let's use real estate as our example, but real estate professionals who are going to mesh with your personality style.
Yep.
Yes.
And you touched on it. We love the idea of having that initial conversation as a review of your personality assessment. Right now, when you sit down to do a consult with a client, and we do too, we lead with, hey, in real estate, it's how many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? What's your preferred style? With me, I always lead with, tell me a little bit about what's going on in your life right now that prompted this meeting. So I naturally have always been tell me a story first. This actually makes it even better because now you could say, hey, listen, we did this great personality assessment before you showed up. Can we take 5 minutes and go over it?
Yeah.
And so it really sort of breaks that ice in a very friendly, very easy way. And it provides the client with something of value from the moment they even start. But yes, second phase of this is absolutely,
it's gonna be huge,
this database of professionals and their personality styles, so that when somebody looks into our database and says, hey, I want to list my house, rather than you literally, in the real estate world, you only have 3 basic ways that you find a realtor or an agent, and that's through referral, that's through a Google search, which is about the worst way that you can find someone, or through, frankly, a third-party service like Zillow,
right,
where the agent pays to show up in front of your feed.
Right.
So you don't know that that person is going to be the best fit for you. We want to be that fourth option where you can head into our database and essentially connect yourself with a realtor that you think is going to fit your need based upon this personality assessment. And Yenta will be able to do that for you.
Yeah.
So it's the potential for this.
Oh, it's ginormous.
Oh my God, it's huge.
It's massive.
With everything in your life, because like buying a home, super important decision. So the person that you have helping you do that can make it much less stressful and much more enjoyable if they are compatible with you. And then the other thing you talked about, even healthcare professionals, like everything, like the person that you are going to see, like I want a compatible match with that person because they're my doctor, you know?
Yeah.
So this is amazing. And I feel like this is new, even with teaching, and I know you taught for a while, learners. Like we did this with kids too. And how do kids learn? And even as professionals, like what kind of personality do you have?
Yeah.
Not all people mesh with each other.
No.
So this is amazing. Like
To me, we had someone at one of our conferences that we just got back from in DC who said, listen, I wish they did this with my son in high school.
For sure.
And I said, well, absolutely. Why not? I didn't even think about its implications for education.
Oh my God,
But
it's
I mean,
huge.
How long do you spend as a teacher in your first grade, right?
Yeah.
How long did you spend as a teacher trying to get to know your student?
Well, it's too funny. Why we lived down in DC. We lived right outside of DC, and I got my master's degree from George Mason University.
Yes.
And it was learner-based program. It was all through investigation, hypotheses, and one of the things that they had us do was take an assessment of the type of learner that we were,
Yep.
and we taught that way because we just assumed that all kids learned that way. And so it falls into every area, especially teaching, but like just knowing as an individual that all people are different and they respond differently and awesome.
I still remember one of my favorite students to date. I was the type of teacher. I mean, I have ADD and ADHD. I mean, I was a concerted kid growing up. I was a concerted adult until, I grew out of it. So for me, my natural teaching style was always 10 minutes of direct instruction, and then I had to play. I had to do something for 3 to 4 to 5 minutes to change it up because I couldn't do that. And I had a student who came up to me, and he ended up being the valedictorian of his class. If I recall, went to the Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy. I mean, just a powerhouse of a student. And he looks at me, he's like, Mr. Groah, I got to be honest. I love your class. He goes, can we please skip all the bullshit? And I looked at him and I said, what, Jake?
This is the fun stuff.
I said, this is the fun stuff. He was that type of kid that literally you could just stand, as a teacher, you could stand and deliver for 80 minutes and he would just sit there and absorb. And that's all he wanted. He didn't need a teacher.
What's going to be on the test?
What's going to be on the test? Just go. And I was like, well, you know what? I don't think about that. Because I only thought about what I liked.
And so do you think MyYenta came from the fact that you crave different sorts of relationships, or you try different, like careers, and you're like, I don't fit here, and this is not me, and this is me furiously
all
the
nodding.
Background and the science behind it and the psychology and the brain and all that is just.
I tell people all the time, how many people literally get to say, I am so blessed because I literally popped out of the womb. And my mother will tell you, she's like, you wanted to be an architect from the time you were 5 years old. Okay. So in the end, what do I do? So am I necessarily an architect? No, but do I get to do stuff with houses every day? Yes. Do I get to do stuff with people every day? Yes. And my natural tendencies all led me to a perfect fit for what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And Yenta, it literally is that combination of all of my favorite things. It is, for me, like you, I know, like I want to leave this world a better place than where I found it, right? And part of what I love about Utica is that it's big enough to where you can impact it, but it's also small enough to where you can impact it.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a passion for change and enacting change, Utica is a great incubator.
You can be heard.
For it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, whereas, you know, down in DC, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Down in DC,
literally 1 in a million.
You're 1 in 8 million.
Yeah,
right.
So really, no luck. Here, you know, 1 in 260,000, 63,000 just in the city. I could do that. So I want to leave an industry that I love. Okay, so I've been doing real estate for 18 years, okay, and in different capacities. You know, now I'm not even licensed in New York State anymore. Like literally, I coach agents in up here, and then down in DC metro area, I said that's where I still practice a little bit, but ultimately, I want to leave that industry better than when I found it, and I always was.
It's an old industry.
It's an old industry.
And we're in a very modern world and getting more modern by the day. And, you know, it's interesting that stat on the average realtors in their early 60s, I believe it, because it becomes kind of a retirement gig for a lot of people. But with all the technology that's hitting us, you're seeing it already with like they're using drones and they're doing like videography. Like you can tell when something's presented professionally versus just slapping some pictures up in MLS. So, you know, this is going to work, right? And I'm guessing you're not the only one in this space, right? There's got to be other people that are. So
there's no one that I can find.
Okay, that's wild.
No one that I can find. This blew my mind, Scott, when I said, "Oh gosh, there's got to be a service already in existence for this."
Like, who's going to be my competition?
Right.
Well,
that's what I was wondering.
It wasn't even who's going to be my competition. It was like, hey, I want to find a service to do this because I'm like, I want to test out my clients from here on out. I Googled for days. I couldn't find a single company that does this.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of it's focused on my bookkeeper. When he first started his company in this area, he was like, you know, there's not a lot of bookkeepers for like an entry level business. He's like, there's a lot of, you know, these big companies have their own departments full of them. He goes, but I want to provide affordable bookkeeping services for the average entrepreneur. And I mean, now he's huge, and you know he does his thing, and he's, you know, wildly successful. I liked this concept so much that I was like, I want to be that guy that the brand new professional can afford.
Right.
You know, if you're starting out in insurance, in financial planning, in real estate, do you have a heck of a lot of money?
Right.
No, you don't have two sticks to rub together. So what we did was, because we were able to develop our own proprietary tests and whatnot, we're able to offer the service at essentially less than the cost of dinner.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know how much research you did, Cal, but if you had a guess, what do you think someone would pay for this service on a monthly basis?
On a monthly basis, $300 a month.
And we're at under 30.
Oh my God.
That's how affordable it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that was one of the interesting things that we've learned in this initial sort of Eastern Seaboard launch. We had the gentleman in the booth next to us he did rental management in our DC conference. And he's talking to us and he goes, well, can I bring you on for my employees? And we're like, well, of course you can. And he looks at me and he goes, what's the plan look like? And I said, well, how many employees do you have? And we go over it all. And I said, you'd be looking at about $300 a month for 50 to 60 employees. And I was like, he looks at me, he goes, I pay $150 per employee to have that test done to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I was
That's
like,
kind of crazy.
Yeah. So he's just like, Jay, yes, please sign me up right now. He goes, this is insane. And I said, well, we wanted it to be that way. We want everybody out there to be able to afford it. The average realtor in the Mohawk Valley, I mean, they're closing deals at $175,000 to $200,000 right now. So that's average. And that is extremely high over, you know, even 5-7 years ago where it was $139,000. But, excuse me, the average realtor, doesn't sell that many houses a year.
Right.
So if you're out there and you're selling 6 to 8 houses a year, you're doing okay for yourself as a new agent. Mm-hmm. These guys, $30 a month is doable. It's very doable. You know, right now they're paying, you know, $230 a year just to access the little boxes that we use to, you know, kind of get the keys out and let people in. So you're paying $1,500 a year for your MLS dues. You're paying $300 a year to access the little lock boxes. What's $30 a month to understand how to communicate with your client?
Yeah, that's huge.
So I'm big in the referral space, and I'll be the first to say that as humans, we take a lot of bad advice from unqualified people because we love them. We care about them, right? And same with your friend, right? Like your friend didn't mean to make a bad connection.
No.
She just didn't know. And so, we see this with finances. Well, my uncle so-and-so said I should be doing it. Your uncle so-and-so doesn't know shit. Like he's broke, right?
Yeah.
And so-and-so said I should do. And it's so we take bad advice. And then the second piece to that is in this digitally dominated world, and it's going there, it's going to get worse. Humans are going to crave relationships more than ever because as a human, you can put as much technology as you want around us. You still want to be seen and heard and loved and, just recognized for the human that you are.
Yep.
And so that's all to say this will become a differentiator for brokers, agents that are using this because, we're going to find a house. I want to know what's the experience, what's the process, and so are you the person who's going to take us through, that experience in a way that we feel seen and heard and respected and loved, and so, there's no question there. I just think you're onto something here.
If you look at so I'm an elder millennial. If you look at everybody from the elder millennial down, right? Those age brackets they buy the things that they want. There is no delayed gratification with that sort of sub 40 population.
All of our children.
They listen. I remember, and you guys probably do too. My first car was $2,800. I scraped together every penny working since I was 11 to buy it, and I bought it. I didn't have a car payment until I, was almost 30 years old. And I was like, even then, I was like, oh my God, I have a car payment. Yeah. Literally, my baby brother got out of college and was like, all right, I want my fancy car. So he goes out and he gets it. And that's what we see now is that the younger millennials, the Zs, they come out, they are willing to go into debt, willing to have the payments to get the material goods that they want. What they crave now are experiences.
Yep.
They crave experiences.
Yep.
So what we want to do is we want to make their experience doing something that they're going to do anyway so pleasurable that all they can do is enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
It is brilliant because we talk about that all the time with Scott running a business and trying to hire new people. They are all about living, not living to work, but working just to live. Like it's so important. And like the 9 to 5s, Monday through Fridays, that doesn't exist anymore.
No.
And they're like, I don't want to do that.
No.
And they don't need to do that because they're living in a way where they're, like you said, the experience is so much more important.
Yep.
And
I want to be our kids. That's what
I want to be our
Kelly's
kids
saying.
too.
I do too. I want to be your kids too.
But I do think that like the personal relationship is something that a lot of these kids or young adults lose sight of is they are working from home on a computer virtually. They don't have that interaction, whereas when you are buying a home or doing something with a realtor, you need to have that person to be on the same page as you.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Well, and it has gotten so distanced socially
Yes.
that the process, it is amazing to me because I, as a practitioner, still, I require as much as I can every client that wants to work with me to meet with me for coffee, for a drink, for something.
Yep.
Jay wouldn't do this without doing coffee first.
I absolutely not. I wanted to get to know you better before I actually came and subjected myself to, podcast torture.
Yeah. What am I signing up for?
What am I signing up for?
You look so tortured.
I look so tortured. I'm so tortured. But that's the kickers. I want to meet with my people, right?
Yeah.
Well, by nature, a lot of the buying population nowadays does not want to meet.
No.
They want to text.
Yep.
They want to email. I'm just like, okay, well, this is a great way to sort of break that ice. And you know what? If you get Yenta'd and the realtor gets the report back and says, they're not going to want to meet with you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that is just
You're not pushing something. You're
not
making them
pushing
uncomfortable.
something that's making them uncomfortable. You're just saying, hey, I've learned this about you. I am going to respect that. Let's continue this email dialogue.
Yep.
Let's continue. Maybe we can get together over
Because
Zoom.
as a salesperson, you have to be a chameleon, right? You've got to mirror what the person wants.
Yes.
And so knowing that information is so powerful.
Well, and it's all, to me, knowing who you're working with, you do, like you said, you have to be a chameleon to a certain degree. Now, I've taught for years.
You don't want to be fake.
Being,
right?
being the authentic you is the best way to show up.
Sure.
But you also need to know your energy sinks and where they're going to be. If I am working with a certain type of person, hey, that person is an energy sink for me because my natural tendency is to be A, B, C, and D. And if that individual is X, Y, and Z, then hey, I've yented them. I know exactly what I have to do in order to make them feel comfortable. But it still pushes me outside of my comfort zone. And subsequently, it's an energy sink.
You're very strategic and intentional with everything. So I know you've thought this through, right? We Google things. You just said you've yented them.
Yeah.
You're coining the phrase yented already. I love it.
It's a verb. It's a verb.
I had a feeling this would be fast. I think we're at like 45 minutes, but we will cautiously try some rapid fire questions if you can go fast.
I will do my damnedest. I will do my damnedest.
We yented you, and we realized that big personality.
Yes.
And very elaborate with the stories, which we love. And now we're going to try rapid fire, which you might not love. Let's see.
Let's go.
You want to go first, Scott? Go ahead.
All right. So if you can give one piece of advice, one piece of communication advice to every real estate agent, what would it be?
Understand your client.
Yeah.
Understand your client and know your market. One of the best pieces of advice that one of my real estate gods in this area, his name is John Brown. The man literally...
Every house for sale is for sale by John Brown.
John is the god.
Right.
He took us around when I was fairly newly licensed, and he gave us this tour of Utica that he gives to new incoming professionals when they're coming into the area. And he is rapid fire questioning us. He's going, do you know how many languages are spoken in the Utica City School District? Do you know how many mosques there are? And we're all in the back seat going, no. And he yells, he's like, you need to know those things. You all need to know. There are blah, 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 like languages spoken there. This. Know your area.
Cool.
And you don't need to have any more. There's no better advice I can give than what he gave to us, was be an expert in the area that you are in, and everything else will happen.
Beautiful.
Okay, so you're part-time here, part-time DC. What do we have here that DC doesn't have?
Small town vibe.
Okay.
Big city features, small town vibe. I love the fact that, like I said, I can text the mayor and just be like, hey, how about that pride flag of yours?
Touchy subject.
Touchy subject. Moving on. Next rapid fire question.
So we talk about personality types. Is there a certain personality type that makes one realtor better than another?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. There is, just like in the automotive industry where they use the adage, there's an ass for every seat. Okay. There is a realtor for everybody out there. It's just, you might not be the realtor for this particular client. And it's totally okay. That's why God invented referrals.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Coolest place you've been to a conference?
San Diego. I love San Diego.
I knew there's always something behind the question. That wasn't even on the list.
Yeah,
she's looking for a place to go.
Yes,
I
love to get away.
We've never been to San Diego.
We've never been to San Diego.
Super great, super great. I also enjoy Sacramento just because of its proximity to other. Sacramento itself, but within an hour you could kind of day trip to a whole bunch of really fun
Frisco,
places.
Napa.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, this is gonna be a tough one. One sentence. What problem does MyYenta solve that no one else is addressing?
Getting to know you quickly.
Okay.
Really. I mean, that's it in one sentence. We solve that problem for you.
Cut through the crap.
Cut through the crap.
Like it. All right. What keeps you up at night about this?
I was going to ask that one. I'm glad you did that last
What keeps me up at night? The fact that I frankly just need another 10 hours in a day. So
You strike me as that type of person that you have a hard time falling asleep and your brain is
right
just...
now, leverage. Leverage has always been a struggle for me. I want to do everything myself. So this morning, I mean, I literally got up at 4, walked the dogs, and started working at 5. And I worked from 5 to 8. And I was just like, but that's the only time I have, because on top of Yenta, I mean, I have another business up here, and I have a real estate business in the DC metro area. So it's like I have 3 full-time jobs, and
leverage is a great word. Yeah, people that can figure it out can scale. That's the number one. That's how you scale.
That's
you
it.
have to leverage. You can't do it all.
You have to leverage talent. And thank God, I will say, with Yenta, I have 2 phenomenal young millennial Zs that are creating this enterprise with me.
Yep.
And thank God, thank the stars, thank whatever your belief system supports, that they came into my life, because honestly, I would not have launched this in the last few weeks as successfully as it has been launched without the 2 of them.
Awesome. 2 things to plug. We never got to August 16th. What's going on August 16th?
August 16th, the cake picnic. So we are hosting a cake picnic at St. Margaret's House to benefit the Landmark Society.
Okay.
And it's an idea that I got while I was in San Diego. I love this. You essentially pay a fee and you bring a cake. It's super fun. It's a little bougie. You get all dressed up. You do your thing, chicken wing. Okay. You bring a cake. Put the cake on a table. Everybody's cakes are all on a table. So your entry ticket is your cake plus a small fee. Okay. Then we all sit around. We have a little drinky drink. We have a little chitty chat. And then all of a sudden, you are literally released like hounds onto the cake tables. And you essentially cut your cake up into as many slices as you feel are appropriate. And that amount of cake slices that you have cut your cake into, you get a box, and you can wander around to everybody else's cakes and take a piece of cake, totaling the amount of pieces of cake that you brought with you.
Okay.
So you get to go out, you cut your cake into 7 pieces, you get to get 8 pieces of cake. And then y'all just sit there getting so sugar high and diabetic that we're all going to just sleep for the next 5 hours, and all goes to benefit a great local organization. So I cannot wait to get this guy going.
You on sugar high scares me.
See the glucose monitor? It's there for a reason, okay? I have literally, I'm a scientist, so for me, I love the glucose monitor because I can watch my sugars all day, and it is just like I don't even want to know. The day of the cake picnic, we're not paying any attention to this. We're gonna turn it right off, and I'm just gonna be happy.
How do people find MyYenta?
Go ahead. MyYenta.com. We're on all social media. So you go ahead and just type in MyYenta. Okay. We pop up. There's a super cute little old lady logo. And find us on all the social medias. And please like us or follow us.
Absolutely. Jay Groah, you're doing awesome stuff, my man.
All right. Thank you
I'm
so
excited
much for
to
having
see
me
where
on.
this all goes. And we'll get to say we knew him when.
There you go.